In this second tutorial on Polarian projects, we'll talk about creating projects from existing repository folders, adding users to projects, and archiving and deleting old projects. Sometimes people need to import an existing Subversion repository containing folders that they want to manage as Polarian projects. Or possibly someone will remotely commit a folder created externally which should now be managed as a project. Either way, it's pretty simple to start a new project around some existing repository folder. Let's see how that's done. First, you need to log in with administrator permissions for the repository. After you log in, if you're not in administration, go there. If you're in a project, as I am here, you need to go to the Global or Repository Administration. Then, in the Projects topic, click the Mark Project button. This will enable you to mark an existing repository folder as a Polarian project. Notice this is the same wizard shown in the Project Basics video when we saw how to create a new project from scratch. Just like that kind of new project, we need to specify the location of the project folder. We saw that to create a new folder you can just type a name, but now we want to specify an existing folder. This little icon is exactly for that. It launches this picker dialog, which is really just a lightweight version of the repository browser. If you remember the Mobile Suite project group from the first video, let's say we know that someone has remotely added a folder for a second mobile app project. So we go to our project group folder, we see the Mobile Foo project we created in the first video, and here's a folder for the second app, Mobile Bar. This is the folder we want to start managing as a Polarian project, so I'll select it. Notice the folder name is automatically suggested as the project ID. The rest of the process is exactly the same as we showed you in the Project Basics video, so let's not take time to go through that here. The only difference in the procedure is that we picked an existing repository location rather than specifying and creating a new one. Let's look now at how to add users to a project. To do this, you must be assigned either the admin or project admin role, or some custom role that gives you permission to manage users. First thing is to open the project in administration. Let's open the Mobile Foo project we created in the Project Basics video. Next, open User Management, Users, and we see this project has one user. If you recall, that's the user who was specified as the project leader when the project was created. Now we need to add the rest of the project team, which is pretty straightforward. Click Add User to Project. Then, in the dialog, pick the user. Let's add our sample developer and assign a project role. I'll choose Project Assignable for now so that Steve can be assigned work items in this project. If I want to give him more roles, I can do that after adding him to the project. In this case, I'd probably like to assign him the Project Developer role. Now, it's a bit outside our scope here, but you can look into the permissions management topic to see what permissions the different roles grant to a user, and you can do that on your own sometime. So, with Steve Developer added to the project, I would just repeat the steps to add other members of the project team. Now let's look briefly at some long-term project management tasks. When users go to the Open Projects dialog, all projects in the repository are listed there. Over time, the dialog can become cluttered with projects that need no further work on them, and nobody really needs to access their artifacts anymore. For projects that are completed but whose data you want to retain, the best option is to unmark the folder as a Polarian project. For example, in the Open dialog we can see this Scope Demo project that I used for another tutorial. Now, I might need that again sometime, so going into Repository Administration, I can select the project and click Unmark. After this operation, the project will no longer appear in the Open dialog, but the project folder and all its data are still in the repository, history and everything. If further work is ever needed, I can simply mark the folder as a project once again. You might prefer to move completed projects to some archive folder before unmarking them. In that case, use this Move button first. In the dialog, click the icon to launch the Repo Browser dialog where you can pick the target folder. I created this Project Archives folder earlier, it's not one of the default ones, and I'll move this project there. When you move a project, all its history goes with it. After moving, I can then unmark it as a project so it won't appear in the Open Project dialog anymore. Last and perhaps least, there may be times when you want to delete a project and all its data from Polarian completely. For example, if you maintain a sandbox for people to experiment with, you'll probably want to clean it out periodically, like we do on our Polarian test drive servers. This is a simple but potent operation. Select the project in the project's topic of repository administration and click the delete button. Just remember, when it's gone, at least as far as Polarian is concerned. If you make a mistake here, your only option is to work directly with Subversion via the command line or an advanced client and restore the last revision. So make sure you really mean it when you use delete. This concludes our two-part tutorial on projects, and we hope you'll now be able to both create and manage projects in Polarian. Please let us know your comments in the form below or drop us an email at info@polarian.com.